the bench with Razi Sports.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Off the Bench with Raji Sports. I'm your host, RB3, here with my co-host, Ron Brown, Coach T, and Keem. And today, we've got a leader, a builder, and a culture changer joining the show. Coach Demosthenes enters his third year as the head coach of the Parkland College women's basketball program, and in just his first season, he took the Cobras to their first NGCAA tournament appearance since 2017, finished 26-7, developed an All-American and earned Region 24 Coach of the Year. But coaching impact goes far beyond wins and banners. He's been shaping athletes for 20 years, building AU programs from the ground up, recruiting across the country, and opening doors for young women in ways most people have never seen. From Orlando to Illinois State football to AU director to one of the most respected Juco coaches in women's game. His journey is nothing short of powerful. Today, we're talking leadership, recruiting, Juco toughness, and our value what it takes for a young woman to see the next level. Coach Gene, welcome to Off the Bench. We're happy to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me on the call. I appreciate it, guys. This is definitely going to be a great conversation, and I'm excited to take part in it. Let's get this show rolling.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, definitely happy you're here. Just ask my first question, Coach. You've got 20 years of coaching experience, but take us back. Who was young Gene from Orlando, and what originally pulled you into athletics?
So I grew up in Orlando, Florida. I went to Dr. Phillips High School. So I played with Johnny Damon. I don't know if you guys know who Johnny Damon is. Johnny Damon was a well-renowned, baseball player / football player in the state of Florida. So my breakthrough didn't come until the University of Florida, Coach Spurrier came to look at Johnny Damon one day. And then he was like, man, who's this kid? You know, because I was a senior at the time. I didn't get a chance to play much on the team. I didn't really get my start till I was a senior year. So because of Johnny Damon, I was able to get my breakthrough as a football player. But basketball has always been my first love. I grew up playing 4 sports in high school. I played basketball. I was baseball. I was shortstop. I did weightlifting and I ran track in high school. But growing up at Dr. Phillips at the time, they take you to some type of a measurement to kind of give you an idea which sport you're going to be successful at. So because of my height and my speed, they felt that, hey, football would be the ideal sport for you. You get a chance to go to college for free and, potentially, do something special with that. So I took their advice. I focused on football and ran track and did weights. And I landed at Illinois State University as a defensive back. So couldn't ask for anything better. But if I had my choice, it'll probably be basketball. Because I love basketball.
So since you played football at Illinois State, how did playing at the D1 level shape your approach to coaching basketball? Because I know it carries over.
Like I said, basketball has always been my love, and I think for me, I started coaching basketball because my oldest daughter was getting into the sport. She loved the game, so I started coaching her at a young age. And then when she decided she didn't want to play anymore, then she started focusing on volleyball. Then my middle daughter, Olivia, was the person that actually got me engaged and got me involved and started hitting coaches' clinics because she loved the sport. I used to come home from work and she would be waiting for me at the door with a bag. Let's go to the gym, Dad, before I even put my bag down. So to me, that was inspirational. So I started coaching then. I started my own AAU team because of her. Because, when you coach an AAU at that level, there's a lot of politics involved. So I wanted to take the politics out of the picture and bring coaching, inspiration, motivation, and bring skill development into the game. And that's why I was able to open up the first AAU program in Central Illinois with my daughter being the lead person to kind of introduce the program. So we went from one program to 14 programs in a matter of about 4 years. And then my son came along, and my son was just hungry and really loved basketball. So I started a boys program for him just to kind of get him up and running as well. So that's how my coaching career kicked off the ground because of my daughter that just loved the game. And she ended up going to a 4-year school, Olivet University, where I think she had over 2,000 points while she was there. So she had a really good college career. My son graduated from Grand Canyon University. He's now a GA on that program and looking at, becoming a college coach someday. So, so that's pretty much what happened there.
All right.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Congrats. That's a good resume.
Yeah,
definitely a great resume. Yeah. So I'm gonna jump next to Parkland. So you're a first year head coach. You took Parkland to the NGCA tournament for the first time since 2017 and earned Region 24 Coach of the Year. What mindset did you bring into that job?
It's kind of funny. I wasn't supposed to get this job, but this is how it all works out. I was an assistant coach, so my goal was to follow my kids because I had my daughter who was playing college basketball. I had my son who was going to go to GCU. So my goal was to just follow them and just kind of, support them in any way that I can. But then my wife was like, since you're not going to be traveling a lot, maybe you should consider just being a coach since you love the sport. Before then, I coached at Urbana High School. I coached under a really good coach, Coach Chris Menens, who was an assistant coach at University of Illinois, and then also was an assistant coach at Arizona State, and then coach at Illinois State. He won 2 state championships here in Champaign over at St. Thomas More. So I worked under a really good coach and really understood what it takes to be very successful at that level. So when I went in as an assistant coach, my goal is to just support the head coach, just to do what I can to make sure that, I can be there for her and help her and support her any way that I can. Mm-hmm. And after the success that she had as a first-year coach, she took the position at a small division D2 school in Ohio. Then I was just sitting down having a conversation with my wife. I was like, well, I think this was it for me because I don't think, it's a lot of work, being a junior college coach because you're wearing a lot of hats. She's like, hey, you're good for the kids. The kids love you. You know what you're doing. You're really not about the X and O's. You're really about caring for these kids and developing these kids. She's like, you should throw your hand, your name in the hat. And I did that. And I landed the position. But mostly, I'm a visionary when it comes to, I've graduated from the University of Illinois with a executive MBA and over at the Geese Business. So I have a vision, and I think that vision is a gift as well. But I wanted to take the program to a different level because junior college had such a bad stigma, and I wanted to kind of change that. I wanted to bring my D1 experience to the Juco experience and create that blend where players can experience what it's like to work hard at a junior college, but yet you're working towards something bigger than what the junior college can actually provide. So when I took over the position, I had 2 returners, Abby Shepard and Alyssa Coles. Yeah. So I had to decide I needed to go to the transfer portal and get some players. So I took the position in June, and I had to put a roster together that still compete in August. So I just had to get to work and try to build a program. But I knew with Alyssa that was coming back, that she was an honorable mention All-American, that I had a good piece to start with. But I knew in order for her to have the success that I wanted her to have, that I needed to change how I use her on the offense side of things. So I implemented a motion offense where I can get the ball in her hand a little bit more. And of course, having Sierra come on board, I figured I can have the inside game with her and Alyssa. So it worked out well. So I was blessed to be able to have Sierra and then have Alyssa and still and have Abby to help out, support the program. So
as you enter year 3, what's the difference in how the culture is now than when you first arrived?
So, yeah, that's a great question. I think now the culture has changed because we have literally the last 3 years, we've been in the top 20 ranked in the nation as far as NJCAA is concerned. So we've gone as high as third in the nation to as low as 23 in the nation. So I think people know that when they come to Parkland, not only they are getting up-to-date information that we are getting from the D1 programs like the University of Illinois, which I have a really good relationship with, San Jose State, Syracuse and some other programs that I have a really good relationship with the coaches I can reach out and call. I can provide my players with up-to-date information that's going to allow them to be successful when they go to the next program. So my goal as a coach is to make sure that when a player leaves Parkland, that they are ready to compete at the next level. And coaches know that. Coaches know when they come, not only they work hard, they also have player development workouts. We teach them how to be accountable as players. We provide them the tools that they need so they can be successful. So when they go to the next levels, that they're ready to go. So we have changed the culture entirely. We have put together a player development program. We have put together up-to-date sets, offensive sets, defensive sets that programs are running across the nation so it can be ready to go.
All right. So you're known for recruiting. What's your philosophy when deciding who fits your program?
So that's a great question, because quite honestly, the last 3 years, I haven't really had a good system in place to where I can recruit into. My goal was to try to continue to recruit players and to bring players in. So now that in my 3rd season, I have a system that I can recruit into now. I can kind of figure out the kind of players that I need that fits the program that I'm, the sets, the system that I'm looking for. And I think next year moving forward is going to be pretty interesting, because now my phone is like blowing off the hook. I can kind of pick and choose the players that I bring into the system and the players that I don't, based on the system that I have right now. So my goal is we want to run a continuity offense that allows for players to be able to get the ball inside, outside, ball screen at the top, ball screens at the wings, but most importantly, defense driven. So I recruit heavily defensive players because I like my defense to turn into my offense. So that's my philosophy now, recruiting, moving forward.
When you're evaluating talent, what matters more to you? Skill, mindset, or coachability? What matters more to you?
So that's a great question. For me, in the last 3 years, as I start shaping the program and understanding what I'm looking for, I'm looking for kids that are coachable, kids that want to learn, kids that want to work hard. Because when you're trying to build a system, right, if they're not hard workers, it doesn't matter what you do, it's not going to work, right? So I'm looking for kids that are hard-working kids, hard-nosed kids, blue-collar kids. So one of the things that we've implemented at Parkland is the Blue-Collar Hard Hat Award. So the Blue-Collar Hard Hat Award goes to the kid that works hard on a regular basis, because we don't believe in being spoon-fed. We believe in hardworking kids. So we award those kids the Blue-Collar Hard Hat Award every Thursday before we play our games, either on Saturdays or on Wednesdays. So, but yeah, hardworking kids that are dedicated, kids that want to grow, kids that loves the game, that want to be in the gym, kids who sees Parkland as a way for them to get to the next level. because if you think about it, with the transfer portal the way it is right now, a lot of high schools are being looked over. I was having a conversation yesterday with a coach, a D1 coach. He told me right now he's recruiting kids for 2028. You know, he has no more scholarship left for 26, 27, 28, because they got to save money for the transfer portal kids, you know? So that's creating an issue as well. So now kids who want to see themselves playing at a high level, who wants to go get that money, because right now there's a lot of money to be had. You know, one of my mentors, Adrian Griffin, he and I were having a conversation, you know, a couple months ago. He's like, man, if I was to do it over again, I would put every penny into my kid because I know they're going to get it back with the transfer portal is right now. So those are the kind of kids that we're looking for. Kids who are hungry, who wants to be successful, who has a chip on their shoulder, and who has something to prove.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Coach, one of the things that you mentioned earlier was vision. You know, and you know, in your recruiting process, is it possible to see if a kid has vision?
It comes through, like, for example, I have a conversation with the kid, and there are certain questions that I ask, you know, what do you see yourself in 2 years? What do you see yourself in 1 year? Mm-hmm. And a lot of the time, you can kind of see the kids who have already thought it through. Mm-hmm. And you can also see the kids who have not thought it through. So as a coach, if I see a kid on the court that has the determination, that wants to win, and after my conversation with the coach, the AAU coach, or even the high school coach, my job as a coach is to help them develop that vision as well. Mm-hmm. So that's where we can take the conversation to the next level. Okay, you've mentioned that, you know, you want to go play at a Division I school. What does that look like to you? Mm-hmm. What Division I schools are you looking at? Let's look at those schools. All right. Do you know anything about those programs? Do you know anything about the coaches? Do you know anything about the system? Do you know anything about the roster? What do you know about that program? So I start helping them to start seeing the vision, you know, so they can start manifesting whatever it is that they want in their life by me helping them through that process. So to answer your question, not every kid that we talk to has a vision, mm-hmm. but we can help them navigate through that vision and see it.
So now there are instances where, you know, I know, like, far as like when you go recruiting, right, you're looking at pretty much a lot of kids that actually have the talent to go D1.
Correct.
You know, and of course, everybody wants to go D1, but we know in reality that not everyone can play D1. But because Parkland is a Juco school, right, a lot of people are saying, well, I want to go D1 or even D2, the lowest, and not even giving, you know, schools like Parkland a chance because, you know, they feel that they're above that. So when you're trying to recruit those kids, right, what are some of the things that you might, you know, try to show, to offer what Parkland offers? You know what I mean? Because as you know, I know what Parkland offers, but, you know, from a coach's standpoint, like, how do you navigate through something like that? Because everyone has a dream to play D1.
Correct. You know, hey, don't get me wrong. I've lost so far probably about 6 kids that have gone D1. So I'm in the right neighborhood. Right. So I'm recruiting the right kids. So a lot of them, like you mentioned, they just want to go D1 because their friends go in D1, right? But they don't look at, okay, there's a developmental aspect that goes into it. You go D1 just to fulfill a roster, right? But yet you're not going to see the court till your junior year. And even then, you know, if the coach wants to go to the transfer portal and get a kid, you may not see the court at all. You may just be a practice player. So my goal in talking to these kids, I tell them the vision of Parkland is unique in the sense that it's in a Big Ten town, right? So we do a lot with the University of Illinois. they get a chance to experience a JUCO atmosphere along with a Big Ten atmosphere, right? Not only that, if they're good enough and they develop enough, you know, Shauna Green, we've already had a conversation. She is willing to look at our players. So we have coaches ready to look at these players. So my thing to them is, if you give us an opportunity and you allow us to work with you and allow us to develop you, if you have a low level D1 or even a low level D2, hopefully by the time we get done with you, you'll have more than one or two or three or four different offers based on how you develop and how you take the coaching that we give you. So there's a combination of a lot of things that go into recruiting, but I think for us is that one is we have one of the highest academics in the country when it comes to JUCO. We have a pathway program to the University of Illinois. We have kids who, if they take classes at Parkland, if we don't have a class that we offer, they can take it at the University of Illinois and take those classes at the Parkland rate. So we have a lot of connection, a lot of work around to get these kids to where they need to be, from a academic standpoint.
Right. And let me ask you, do you think some of that also, that NIL, do you think some of that has to do with it as well? Because of course, when you go to like D1s and stuff like that, NIL, they're giving you, especially the girls too. They're giving some girls, not as much as the boys, but do you think that hurts the JUCO schools and the Parklands? Do you
think so?
That affects?
Yeah, I think anytime that you get a kid that's looking at the money, or the parents is helping them, it makes it tough to recruit those kind of kids. And those kids, typically, we don't go after. We don't win. Pretty much, we focus on the kids that we think we can win. And the kids, not everybody on a D1 roster is NIL.
That is facts.
Not everyone. So they may say, hey, if you do this, you may end up getting some money, or if we can promote your jersey sales, whatever the case might be, you may end up making some money, but not every kid on the roster or NIL kids. So a lot of those kids think they're going to get NIL, but it's not really an NIL, situation. They may get some money, but it's typically not as much as, some of the bigger recruits. So I think NIL has gone overboard, and I think kids need to do a better job really understanding how the NIL really works before they, commit to a school as such, especially if they need to develop.
Understand. Okay.
So.
All right, Coach. Let's get into something you understand deeply: the JUCO pathway. Why do you believe JUCO players, especially on the women's side, are such valuable additions to a 4-year program?
Well, that's a great question, because now most JUCO colleges can play in the NIL world. Before, it was a little tough because you get a school. They would go after a kid that's played in the 4-year program that has proven themselves. They can throw a lot of money at that kid to bring him. But I think coaches are starting to realize that there are some good talents at the JUCO level, right? Mm-hmm. There are. You can get a really good talented kid at the JUCO level and pay them a fraction of what you would pay a bigger kid coming from a program, and may get the same productivity out of that kid and end up getting 2 or 3 of those kids for less the fraction of what you would pay a bigger name. So it's starting to, coaches are starting to realize that, like, for example, a smaller school with a smaller budget, right? You don't want to take all your money and throw it at one player, right? So let's diversify that. Let's go out to the JUCO level. Let's get 2, 3, maybe 4 players and take that pot of money and divide it into those kids and get you some good talent. I think coaches are starting to realize that they can diversify their money a lot better than throwing a lot of money at one player. Now you got one kid making all the money, and then everybody else is really not making much money. What good is that? Because it's a team that requires 5 players, you know?
Right.
So I think now the JUCO world is starting to shape up how coaches view NIL, because now a good player now can start making some money from that standpoint. So I tell kids that don't sleep when you go to JUCO. Go in, focus, do what you got to do. You know what you're there for, because there's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of money to be had, right? Put in the work, put in your time, and you just never know when that opportunity is going to come. Because I get calls every day. I get calls every day from coaches looking for players, and they're willing to take the risk on a JUCO kid, especially now with the change, right? I was just reading something now where 2025, 2026 grads, once they graduate now to go to NCAA school, they are eligible to play 4 more years, which is a good thing, you know?
Correct.
So now you can come to the JUCO and develop, work on your skill set, work on your ball handling skill, work on your shooting, take the time to develop those areas that you need to develop. And then now you go to the 4-year school, even if you don't get the NIL money the first year, but you get it the second and third year because you put in work, right? I think kids needs to start realizing that JUCO is going to be very, very critical moving forward, especially now how things are shaping up in the, with the NCAA, and also with schools that got minimal funds to distribute among players. Now they can go to the JUCO area and get 2 or 3 players and spread their risks a lot easier.
Yeah, that's the fact. I mean, not only that, schools are actually looking for, from my side of things anyway, they're looking for kids who have the experience. And if you go to the JUCO route, you got, especially if you play the 2 years at JUCO and then you go to the 4-year, and now that you're getting the 4 years, added on at the NCAA level, you're getting an older and mature kid, and I'm finding out a lot of schools, especially on the men's side. I know the women's is doing the same, but on the men's side, they're doing a lot where, kids are actually exhausting the 4 years. So now you can imagine if you get a player from JUCO and then another 4 years, that's 6 years to where if you want to go to the WNBA, you have that much more experience. And teams are looking for young, but they are looking for more experience to help them win.
Absolutely.
That's what these teams are looking for.
Correct. And
that's amazing.
That's what they're paying for, the experience. Because, if you have a coach, that's their job's on the line, right?
Right.
So their job's on the line. So they got to win right away. There's no such thing as delayed gratification. You got to win right away, right? So I can go out and get a kid and pay $13,000, $14,000 a month for a kid, and hopefully that this kid could win. Now, you made a good point, Mr. Brown, because now you can go to the JUCO world and get a kid that's proven himself, that's got film. Like at Parkland, my goal was to play the top programs in the nation, which we are doing. We're playing the number 1 team in the nation, number 2 team in the nation, number 3 team, number 5, number 7, number 8. So we're playing the top team in the nation. Now, a 4-year school can't come to me and say, well, your program is not playing top level competition. We are playing top level competition. You've seen how my kids are performing at this top level competition. So now what? You know what I mean? So we're putting our kids in a position so they can be successful on all levels.
Right. And that's smart. That is real smart.
From your experience, what trait do you believe JUCO players bring that 4-year programs often lack in their freshman class? I know a lot of freshmen coming in.
Well, experience, man. Experience is everything, Back in the real... So you work for a company for 5 years, right? Every year you get 3% raise, right? After evaluation, they say based on your evaluation and the work that you've done, you get 3%. So if you want to get a higher paying position, what do you got to do? You got to shop around. You got to go out and get a new job. Then now you can negotiate your contract, right? The same thing. The same thing. Right? Now you get a kid that plays a freshman comes in. You asking for how much? Nah, you haven't even proven yourself. You coming from the high school rank. I don't even know if you're gonna survive a hell month. So, alone talk about money. You know what I mean?
Right.
So let's survive hell month first. All right. Now let's go see if you can even handle a practice. Right. So the issue is the freshmen that's coming from high school, they all think they want to play college basketball until they go to that first workout. But when a kid comes to a junior college, especially our program, we put them through a college 4-year workout. We put them through it and they survived it. And any coach that comes to our program to recruit a kid after 2 years, after 1 year, that kid is ready. There is no doubt in my mind. So that's the big difference between going from grabbing a junior college kid versus a high school kid. They're battle tested.
All right, Coach, what advice would you give players about understanding their value in the NIL?
That's a great question because a lot of the times players really don't dictate the amount of money that they make. Some of them can, but some of them really don't have a lot of say so unless you're one of the top players. So my thing is that whatever money that is being thrown at you, you just got to take the money and then you just got to work hard, because at the end of the year, when it's time for your contract to renew, you can always renegotiate. And if you've proven yourself on the court as a elite player, right, the coach has an option to either pay you more money or you can go back in the portal and get more money. So the coach is at a catch-22 right now. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like them if you do and them if you don't. You know, you bring a kid in, you're underpaying him, but he's proven that he's coachable. He's a hard worker. He comes to practice early every day. He puts in the work. You know, he does everything you ask him to do. He remembers his sets. He's good in locker room with the players. And the kid come to you and say, "Hey, I need a little bit more money next year." And you said, "No." Guess what the kid's going to do? And especially if he's proving himself, he's going to go right to the portal. He's going to go, get picked up and get more money. That's just the way that it is right now. So my advice is, if you're a junior college coming out and somebody's throwing some money at you, take it. And then prove yourself that you're worth more money than what they're giving you after a year. So, yeah.
Okay. Do you think 4-year coaches should actively target JUCO players as reliable, mature contributors for both on and off the court performance?
I think so. I think so because, let's talk about junior college as a whole. Not a lot of programs have the resources that we have here at Parkland. We're fortunate enough. A lot of kids that leave a program wish that Parkland was a 4-year school because of the resources that we have for players. But you do have some junior colleges that does not have much, right? Mm-hmm. So I think when you take a kid that's gone through junior college, he understands what it takes to work hard. He understands what it takes to not have the right equipment, to not have a training department, to not have a trainer that travel with you to the game, to understand that you have a head coach that's doing player development, that's scheduling trips, that's doing everything that they need to do to get that kid ready so they can have some success. So I think that if I was a 4-year coach and I was looking at a player that's coming through the junior college rank, I would definitely consider it because I understand the hard work that those kids have to go through in order for them to be successful at that level. If you can be successful at a junior college, you can definitely be successful at a 4-year school, because now you're going from having nothing to now you have all the luxuries at a D1 school. You get top-notch training, you get all the stuff that you need. So if you bring your work ethic and everything that you are as a person at the JUCO level to the 4-year program, man, you're just going to have a lot of success. So I think 4-year coaches should consider targeting more JUCO players across the nation. They're just not Parkland, but I think they should consider it heavily.
Definitely. Thank you for that about the JUCO. So you've coached boys and girls at multiple levels. What makes coaching the women's game special to you?
That's a good question, and people ask me that all the time. Having coaching two daughters myself, I understand that you got to coach female differently than you do guys. You got to know when to push, and you got to know when to hug them and tell them you love them. You got to know when to support them and encourage them. And I think that having coached girls basketball for a long period of time, I'm able to provide that to them where they can feel comfortable and still go out and compete at a high level. So for me, it's just understanding them as a whole. I think I could be hard, but I could also be soft to them as well. And I think they like that. I think boys is a different creature. I think boys react to toughness a little bit different than women does. I think in today's society, things are changing. You can't really be hard on the players all the time, especially when it comes to women basketball. They gotta have fun. You gotta give them time to to be themselves and all the stuff that goes into coaching women's basketball. So, but I enjoy it. Sometimes I want to pull my hair out. There's days that I come in the gym, I'm like, we got a lot of work we need to get done today. Today's not the day. But I also have to understand, okay, well, you got to take a seat back, because you are dealing with women. And I have to change my approach to try to see if I can get the maximum out of them for that day. So, but one of the things that I've created, I think that has created a more consistent way that they can compete at a high level. I've established the 5 pillars of on the court standard. So it allows me to be able to coach them, but to go back to those 5 pillars, which has helped a lot. One of them is we talk about conditioning. You condition because we run a fast-paced offense. We try to score within 6 seconds of transition. Of course, we want to break defenses down. We play full court, black, man-to-man press on offense. And also we talk about concentration every day. You must be present, you must be focused, and you must be getting better. And also discipline with your assignments, right? Discipline and defense on offense, utilizing the clock to break down the defense, moving the ball, and looking for the best shot. Not a good shot, but the best shot, right? And then we talk about being coachable. Do you take corrections personally, or do you take it as a way for you to grow? And we talk about ability plus coachability equals success. We talk about openness to new ideas. One thing that I've started implementing a lot this year is, breaking down film, looking at film. Hey, why did you make that decision? Why didn't you make that decision? Those kind of things. And we talk about consistency, because now when you go to the next level, coaches are looking for players who are consistent in their effort, consistent in energy, consistent in attitude. We're not looking for players that comes to practice up one day and down the other day. We're looking for consistency, because if that player can provide us a consistency that we're looking for, we can trust that player doing the game, right? And we talk about competitiveness and toughness, right? Or you competing on a regular basis, right? Or you challenging yourself, or you challenging your teammate, or you getting your teammates better? Is your teammate getting you better? So we talk about that because we believe that if you can become tough, both mentally and physically, you got a chance to be very successful. So we, at the end of practices, we talk about that. We talk about, hey, did we win the category condition? Yes, W. Did we win in the category concentration? Yes, W. How were we coachable? Yes, W. Consistency, W. So we look at it as a win for that day. So if we can get a win every day, we just keep stacking days. I think we have a chance to do something special here.
One thing that I hear you say a lot is you mentioned development a lot. There's this, I guess, this saying that's kind of in the lexicon, where people are kind of saying that you can't develop and win. Since you lean so heavily on development, you won the Coach of the Year. How help me bust that myth.
Well, at the end of the day, that's a good question, because if you develop, it automatically equals to win, right? Let's think about that, because even if it's not a win to the program, it's a win to the player. So it all depends on how you view it. For me, I view it as a win to my players, because if my players can win, I automatically win. So by me spending the time and working with you and building your basketball IQ, building your ball handling skills, building your decision making, even if it doesn't happen right away, but when it does happen, that player's going to win. It's automatically going to help us as a coach win as well. So I strongly believe that. I strongly believe that it's really pointing to the players that matters to me than the W. If I get the W in the process, great. But and also what it does too, it builds confidence. Because in the world, in women's basketball, the biggest thing is confidence, right? So I think by helping them and supporting them and putting them through those workouts, develop them, having understanding game films and building the understanding, that builds their confidence. The more confidence they have, the better they become as basketball players. So to me, that's how I view developmental player development.
I appreciate that.
All right. So that's next question I have is, how have you seen the women's side evolve in terms of speed, skill, and basketball IQ over the years? I know it's been evolving.
Oh man, it has changed tremendously. I mean, it has changed. Now we got women dunking. I think Arizona State got a young lady that's dunking right now, which is pretty impressive. You got some WNBA players that's dunking. And if you notice that player development, skill development has evolved tremendously. Players have personal trainers. If you look at the NBA bench, behind each player, they have their own player development. If you look at the WNBA bench, behind each one of them, they got a player development as well. So I think that women's basketball has gone to the next level because players want to be good. Players, they don't want to be average. They want to be good. They want to chase the Caitlin Clarks and some of the other players out there. You know, they want to be good. And I think it has evolved tremendously. If you look at some of the college basketball, North Carolina, they're packing the stadiums, you know, because people want to see women basketball player. And I think over the years, women's basketball has gotten cleaner. You're not seeing a lot of turnovers. You're not seeing a lot of fouls. You're seeing good, sound basketball, a lot of good sets. So I think the women's basketball has evolved for the best, and I'm glad to be part of it.
It's funny you say that because, you know, when people ask me, so tell me a little bit about basketball, right? I tell them, I say, well, if you're going there for the entertainment, you know, let's go to the men's college or men's NBA, you know, go watch that for the entertainment. But if you want to see good basketball, go to a nice college women's basketball game. Because like you just said, fundamentals, the skill sets, I mean, the IQ, you have to play pure basketball at that women's level. You know what I mean? And not saying they're less than the men, you know. It's great now we're seeing the women dunk, so that brings a little more excitement to the women dunk. Right? But if you want to see pure basketball, setting up the screens and the high post and all that and all the skill work, watch a good women's basketball game. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Correct.
Like nothing against the NBA or men's. Hey, I love the entertainment, but if you want to go for the game, you have to look at women's basketball because it's just pure basketball. You know, and I love it. I love it.
No, I agree. I agree with you.
And they got some lethal shooters.
And the shooting, I mean, all the way around. They have it all. They have it all. They really do. Women have it all. Not taking again. I don't want to get blasted saying, hey, you know. I'm just saying pure basketball. I mean, because back in the day, I mean, basketball is changing now. Everybody's trying to you know, entertain. Everybody want to get the fast money. Everybody want to do this. So coming to watch a good good women's basketball game, you know you're going to get a good game.
Correct.
We hope to get a good game, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
some teams are just
Yeah.
blowing some teams out.
Mm-hmm.
But no,
No, that's true.
you get good fundamental basketball. So
Correct.
that's awesome. I love women's basketball.
Yeah, even in them blowout games, you can see some good sets being ran by the team that's up.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Absolutely.
What are some of the things you would say for the women's JUCO system that they are doing right to prepare the players for the next level?
If you look at some of the top programs in the nation that we've competed, one thing that I've realized that not only you prepare them by playing really tough competition, right? Because that's what coaches want to see. They want to see if they compete at the high level. You also provide them with the resources that they need so they be successful. Like we've mentioned, becoming a student of the game, understanding the game. All right. We have a set, but let's not be robots, right? Let's operate within the system, but use your instincts and your creativity based on what we practice and based what you've seen on film so you can be successful. I think that's one area that I think that in the JUCO arena that a lot of players have gotten better at. And I think coaches now are doing a better job breaking down film and understanding and putting players in front of the film and saying, hey, why did you make that decision? Why you should have made that decision? Let's look at this. Let's look at that. Let's look at this. So I think now we have a lot more resources at the JUCO level to be able to help those players become better basketball players at the JUCO level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. I know it's just a little off from that previous question, but I want to change it up just a little bit as far as the parents, right? When we're gonna go back just a little bit to the recruiting and then even the fundamental learning, the developmental of the player for the 2 years. I mean, have you ever came across a parent that really didn't understand? And if so, how did you navigate that to get them to understand, or even you might have to part ways? I mean, what are some of the dynamics that you had to go through with having that parent that just didn't understand what the JUCO level was all about to help them get to the higher levels that they might want to get to? Like, have you ever gone in anything like that?
Well, that's a great question because, at the college level, we don't really interact with parents.
Right.
Unless, I have a relationship with the parents. But usually, if a player is not developing at the level that they want to develop, then that's a conversation that I have with the players. So we have meetings scheduled with all players at Parkland the first Monday of every month, but we go the first and the third Monday of every month. We meet with our players. We talk about standards. We talk about where they're at. And I would be honest with them. I would say, hey, listen, based on how you came in and you're really not progressing the way that I want you to progress. And, you have all the resources available, but yet you're not taking advantage of the opportunity that's in front of you. So I tell them, hey, when it never materialized to what your parents expected, then I want you to have those conversations with them and tell them about your work ethic, about the stuff that you did to prepare, or the lack of preparation to put you in this situation. But I have those conversations with the players, and I tell the players to have those conversations with their parents. I try to, because a lot of parents have really high expectations for the kids, and they know their kids are really not hard workers, and they really don't put in the work that they need to. Or maybe the kid is telling the parents that they put in the work that they need to. But as a coach, I see those kids every day. I know what kind of effort those kids are putting in. I know their class schedule. I know if they're staying in bed, they're not putting up shot. They're not working on ball handling skills. I know those things. So, they could be lying to the parents, but I have those conversations with the players, and I'm flat honest with them.
Right.
You're just not getting it done.
Right.
I don't know what I need to tell you. You're not getting it done. So those conversations you need to have with your parents on your own. So that's how I handle that.
No, that's a great way of handling it, because I mean, you know, a lot of you know, of course, I'm in the world of hearing a lot of people's stories and what they do and what coaches do and how whatever, right? And you know, every school is different, so it's good to hear that you are like that, because that's the way it should be, you know. Because one, you know, I'm gonna say the girls, right? They graduated from high school, going to college now. They have to have a leg to stand on now. They're gonna have to have their responsibilities, you know. So they got to be held accountable, you know, to whatever it is. So yes, you need to be honest with them, and they need to go back to the parents if the parents are, you know, hard on them and had their expectations a certain way. Yeah, they need that. So it's good to hear that that's how you do that, because you know there's parents. A lot of parents. One of the things that I'm strong on is parents understanding that this is not high school anymore.
Correct.
It's not high school anymore. You can't just go up to the coach and be like, "Hey, look, why is my kid not playing?" Or my daughter's calling me and blah blah blah. You can't do that, because they are being held accountable. Yeah, there might be something that you might be seeing or what have you, and the kid might not agree, but this is basketball. That's the real world.
Yeah.
This is the real world. You know what I mean? So to hear that is good, because parents just don't get it, and there need to be a cutoff. It really does.
No,
It really
no. They know their kids, because you know development happens off season, right?
Correct.
Right, off season. So if you put in the work off season, when you get to college, right? Based on what you've done off season, now you've been thrown into a system. Now you can start showcasing what you've done off season. But if you haven't done anything off season, now we got to, you know, last year before you left, you really couldn't go left, and we give you a plan of execution at the end of the year. We do a player development plan at the end of every season. We tell the players exactly when they go home what they need to work on, and we send them workouts that they need to do. Some players decide that they want to use a personal trainer. That is fine with me. I have a problem as long as you're getting something done, right? But yet you come your sophomore year and you still can't go laugh.
Right.
You know?
Right. Right. What are we doing here?
And mom and dad, you knew that, because you knew that your son was at home or your daughter was at home the whole summer, didn't really put in the work.
Right.
So there shouldn't be any surprise. No surprise whatsoever. Right. So their consequences, what they did off season, is what they're paying for during the regular season, because now you got a kid that comes in that develop, that work on those things that we talked about. That's even better at those areas. Now, who do you think we're going to play as a coach? Because we got to save our job, right?
Right.
We have a job. We have a responsibility to not only the players, to the school that we represent, you know, to the kids that's working their butt off, is to play the best kid. Every program's like that, right? So we're going to play the kid who's putting the work and who wants to get better. And that's just the way it is. And I think kids have to realize that it's life, you know, it's just life. And, you know, we teach them life experience. And I think junior colleges and most schools does that for those players. But, you know, unlike the four-year schools, kid can go in the transfer portal and transfer. At the junior college level, they can do the same thing as well. They can go to the transfer portal and transfer to another JUCO, and then what they realize that they're taking themselves with them. The same person that they brought into Parkland is the same person that's going to the next junior college, which is the same person who didn't do anything this summer. So you're not getting anything different. You're getting the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
well, I never. So let me ask you. So that brings up another question. Like, is the transfer portal at JUCO junior college that big, as big as the four-year universities?
It's big. You know, you get kids that will transfer from school to school. Yeah, It works. Yeah. For example,
And
myself.
that can't be helping the kid though. I mean, because I mean, you're not getting no stability, and you're not you know what I mean. You're not getting
No,
anything from school to school like that.
no, I don't recommend JUCO players transferring to a different program at all because you have literally 2 years. It's not like you got 4 years or 6 years, right? You transferring from one program that you understand the system to a different program and have to learn the entire new system at a junior college is really bad, I think. But kids do it all the time because they go there, they're not happy with the coach, you know. So they decided at the end of the season they're gonna transfer. I had a player last year that came to me at the end of the season. Oh, so I had a player.
We hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I had a player come to me at the end of the season last year and told me that, hey, coach, I didn't think you and I get along, so I'm going to transfer.
Wow.
I said, okay. I mean, you know, I tried everything I can to help you, to develop you as a player, to get you to where you need to be from the first time you came to now, and you feel that you and I don't hit it off. Well, then there's nothing I can do for you. You know, I tell kids, if you want to be here, I'll do everything I can to help you out. But if you don't want to be here, let's not waste each other's time. And it works out well. Because if you don't want to be here, you're not going to give me 100% anyways. You're not going to give me the effort. You're not going to give me the energy that I'm looking for. You're not going to be uplifting. You're not going to do the things that we require from our players to do. So it's best to part ways.
You know what, Coach? That is crazy because, I mean, how do I look saying to my boss, "Hey, man, we don't get along. I gotta go." I'm saying because we use basketball as a life. You know what I mean? It's more than basketball. You know what I mean? It's more than basketball. It's a life skill that we're teaching you through basketball. So I don't get along with you. So I get it. I might have to eventually look for another job, but let me get the most out of you until it's best. But just to move from a 2-year school in the middle, I think that's just ridiculous because, you know, unless something really tragic happens. I mean,
correct.
You know, unless something really tragic, like, okay, this is just not going to work. I get it. But correct. I know you, Coach, so it can't be that bad. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah. But you know, the funny thing, Ron, the same person that left went to another program has quit that program anyways. So like I mentioned to you, like I mentioned to you, you take yourself with you to the other program. So my thing is, while you're here, work on yourself as well as develop, because there's a reason why you're here, right? There's a reason why you're here, and while you're here, take the time to learn who you are as a player, learn how you can improve in different areas, because at the end of the day, like you said, you're going to get a job. The basketball stop bouncing. You're going to get a job. And when you get a job, right, that's going to pay the bills, or you're going to quit and tell your boss, I don't like you. So you're going to be going from job to job to job to job, you know? It
that's crazy.
Like that. Yeah.
No, it doesn't. That's crazy.
So you think it's part of the ego?
It has to be an ego. It has to be. And that's where parents come in. I mean, you have to sometimes check your kid. Like, you know, they get a big head. Yeah, they might have been good in their high school, but they got to understand, like, when you go to college, you're going up against another 12 kids that's just like you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you need to
just as good as you were.
They were the guy on their team. You know what I mean? Just to say that you was that guy on yours. So I blame the parents on a lot of this. I'm big on parents being able to help their kid navigate through this, because, you know, out of however years they've been playing to get to the schools, you got to make sure their egos are checked at the door. You got to be humble. You know what I mean? Hungry and humble is what I always tell my kids. You have to stay humble and hungry. You understand?
Correct.
Because you know, that's what's going to get you. You got to be how they say, to be a leader, you got to know how to follow first.
Yeah.
You
Correct.
understand?
Yeah.
To be a leader, you got to know how to follow. So if you can't follow, like, how you expect to be the man on the team? You can't listen to the coach, the one who's telling you how to do this.
Correct. You know, I think one thing that parents, like Ron, I think you do a really good job at that. I think parents needs to listen to their kids,
Yes.
and not really buy into their sin, in the sense that, like, side with them. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Don't side with your kids. Like, listen to them, right? And then give them the advice that they need so they can continue. Yes. Don't give them the advice that they need so they can quit. Right. Or so they can give up, so they can feel sorry for themselves. You know?
Right.
Check them. Like you said, yeah. Things are not going right. What could you have done better? What could you have done differently? All right.
Exactly.
How can you approach the conversation differently? How can you approach the situation differently? All right. How can you address the situation that's going to be a win-win for both you and the individual that you're dealing with? I think parents need to start taking that direction, as opposed to sympathize with their kids. Now the kid comes to practice mad upset about life. You know, they want to quit because mom and dad says, fine, you're not being treated equally or properly. Therefore, you know, all that stuff. And right. Mom and dad really doesn't really know what's going on a day-to-day in practice. You know, they don't know.
No, they don't.
You know, but they tell their parents something else, and then now the parents are siding with them, and now the kid is feeling like, oh, I got mom partner with me. Now I can quit. I can do whatever I want. But, you know, in life, I tell my players all the time, life is going to give you a lemon. Learn how to turn into lemonade.
Yes.
Because that's what life is about. Because you're going to face challenges. You're going to face obstacles. How are you going to overcome that? There's a wall that's going to be in front of you. How are you going to climb it, go over it, go around it? How are you going to ask help, support that you need? That's right. What this journey is about. Is to reach out and to get help from other people that's been there, that's done it, that can support you. Stay away from the negative energy. You know, don't deal with that.
That is so true.
You know, don't deal with that, because that'll drain you, man. That'll drain you. That'll suck you dry.
It will. It will. I mean, I give you credit, because one of the things, because I tried years ago to coach a girls team.
Didn't work out.
Nah, hey, Coach, take this for me, because I just can't deal with the. I just wasn't good with the mood swings a little bit.
Communicating.
Like Coach Kim said, I don't know if you remember Coach Kim, Coach D, but she was on a few episodes back, and it's easier for me to deal with the boys, because, you know, I can give them a little razzle, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
so I give you a lot of credit, because I couldn't do it. It's hard, but you're doing a great job, Coach. You really are.
No, it's tough. It's tough. So, you know, like I said before, I think communication is important. We stress communication. You know, I tell my players that I don't know what you're going through unless you communicate with me.
Right.
Right. So I have a high expectation of you, and you know, our expectation is to win the national championship. So my goal as a coach is to push you, right?
Right.
But if you have an issue that you're going through, whether it's the time of the month, whether it's family problem, whatever the case may be, right? Come to my office before practice. Let's have this conversation. Say, Coach, hey, today I'm going through this. I said, all right, now I can back off of you, right? And then I can have you accountability partner say, hey, I need for you to look into so-and-so that's going through this challenge. I'm going to have you take care of her and check her. Does that make sense? So now
that makes sense.
I'm not putting that much pressure on her, because I do have high expectations. They know that. So they would line up in my office, say, Coach, I got this going on. Hey, Coach, I got that going on. Coach, I got this going on. I'm like, oh man, okay.
Yeah,
but
man.
You know, hey,
yeah,
that's
man.
what happened when you coach girls basketball, man. You just gotta be able to deal with that stuff, you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, we leave it up to guys like you, so we appreciate you.
Definitely appreciate it. Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
So look, Coach,
Yes,
what
sir.
I'm that kid. I'm sitting at home on the couch. I kind of want to play, but I don't really know if I, can really cut the mustard. So are you saying to me that if I decide to put a plan together, I can possibly go to a JUCO school, use it as a de facto or a faux type of developmental league for a couple years, show and prove, and then that may open up a door, an opportunity somewhere else for me, whether it be in a 4-year college, whether it be at another JUCO school, but it can be an option if somebody just want to just buckle down and get to it. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Well, you gotta want it, man.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be a second option. I mean, you gotta want it. Maybe you're that kid who didn't get that opportunity. That went to a tryout because you were hungry and you wanted to make a team. You wanted to play college basketball, right? But you can't be the kid on the couch and wishing that you make a team. You
Mm-hmm.
gotta be hungry, you know.
Yeah.
If you're not hungry, I don't care what you do, you're not gonna eat, right? It's kind of like the guy who got fired from his job and he sits on the couch and he's just wishing for a job to come. All he's got to do is go to the computer and fill out an application and send his resume in, and then actually get dressed and go for the interview,
Right.
right?
Right.
If that kid ain't doing all that, it doesn't matter. He ain't gonna get seen. He
Mm.
ain't gonna get developed. He's got to hit camps. He's got to hit. He's got to reach out. He's got to send emails. He's got to do all. He's got to put together highlight film. Like for example, I'll tell a kid, even though you play, send me a tape of you dribbling to your left, dribbling to your right. Shooting from the elbows. Shooting some threes, shooting from the corners. Right. If you don't get that over to me, you're not hungry. You don't want it. Why am I going to waste my time with you? So I put the players through a series of tests just to see how hungry they are and how bad they want it. Because at the end of the day, what I've learned is if you bring a kid that's not hungry, you're going to be chasing that kid down. And that kid's going to drain you. He's going to drain the culture, the program down. So my goal as a coach is I want to bring kids that are hungry, that sees the opportunity, that sees what what we bring to the table, and they can buy in and grow as a player in the process. So hopefully I answered your question.
Oh yes, absolutely. That works.
Yeah, that was like a tricky question there.
Yeah, I tried.
Got to keep you on your toes, coach.
I like it. I love it.
All right. So, as you look ahead, what do you want your legacy at Parkland and in women's basketball to be? What do you?
So my legacy is to be the coach that actually help players, develop players, and to help players get to where they need to be. My goal is to make sure kids look at Parkland and say, you know what, when I played for Coach D, it was one of the best experience that I've had. Or they can say it was one of the worst experience. But the one thing about Coach D, he was disciplined. He made sure that we got things done both academically as well as athletic. So it's not, for me, it's not about the win and losses, it's about the souls that, I'm a Christian guy. I promote, religion quite a bit. So if I can save one player from going in the wrong direction and get that person back in line, I think I've done my job as a coach. So that's what I want my legacy to be.
Okay.
That's awesome, coach. Being a father and a parent that has a child underneath you, I'm just going to give you a lot of kudos because, you are everything that you stated today. I get those phone calls, and you are challenging her. You understand? And you're making you're not making her a better ball player. You're making her a better person too.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Because now she's also learning not just from our side, but from your side as the coach, head coach of the program at Parkland. She's learning how to be accountable, being a lot more responsible. She still used me as an ATM, but we need to work on that, coach.
Absolutely.
Right? But you know, she's growing through your program, and what you're doing. I would like to say, just keep it up, coach, and the success is always going to be yours for sure if you just keep steadfast on what you're doing. And,
appreciate it. Thank you.
You know,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we definitely enjoy you and what you're doing. That is awesome.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for entrusting your daughter with us, man. I think your daughter she's coachable. She's a hard worker. I think she's got a bright future. It's unfortunate she had that shoulder injury.
Right.
But I think once she realized, hey, my shoulder's fine. I saw her today in practice. Man, she was at it. She was grabbing rebounds, boxing out. I think she's starting to realize that I think my shoulder might be okay now. So I'm excited to see what the future holds for her. You know, as always, we're going to continue to fight for her. We're going to make sure that she's in the best position so she can have the best opportunity that present her way. So I appreciate you guys trusting me with her for 3 years in a row.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm really excited about it. So thank you.
Yes, no, we appreciate you. Trust me.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right. So definitely I'm gonna end it off here. Coach Gene, thank you for your honesty, your insight, and the passion you bring to women's basketball. Your journey, player, builder, mentor, father, and now you're one of the leaders in the Juco game. The way you develop players, the way you champion Juco athletes, and the way you prepare young women for the next level in our era, that's special and needed. To our listeners, if you didn't take notes today, go back and run this episode again. There were definitely gems in this segment. I'm your host, RB3, and this has been Off the Bench with Razi Sports. Always remember, stay off the bench.
Stay off the bench.
That's right. Stay off the bench. Let's go.
Yes, sir. All right, coach. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Much love and respect.
God bless.
God
Have a
bless.
good one.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.